Hi, this is Nick and Chris here at SaratogaWine.com, and today we're being joined by Janina Schmitt of Materne and Schmitt Riesling House in Germany. Janina, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Excellent. So we got to try these wines with you, and we were blown away by the quality.
Me in particular.
Yes, absolutely. Chris is a very tough Riesling critic. And tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about how this all came to be.
Yeah, hi, I'm Janina, and I'm one part of Materne and Schmitt. I'm doing that winery together with my best friend Rebecca. And we started in 2012 with 0.5 hectares, only steep slopes, because we are from the Mosel Valley, and at the Mosel Valley everything is steep and rocky. And now, 10 years, almost more than 10 years later, we have 5 hectares, still steep slopes. Only Riesling, because Riesling is the best grape variety in the world, especially for cool climate.
It is one of the noble grape varieties.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I'm very happy to get that chance to talk to you guys and be with you guys.
Excellent. So for reference, a half a hectare vineyard, how many bottles of wine roughly would that produce?
It depends on the vintage, but on average I would say 1,500 bottles.
Okay, so not very much.
Right.
Yes.
Tiny plot of land.
Yes.
Right. So even at 5 hectares, it's still a very,
Yes. Yeah.
especially if you compare to some of the regions like Bordeaux, which produce tens of thousands of bottles a year.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So a couple of the wines that we have here today, why don't you just talk us through these wines?
Yes. The first one we taste, it's a 2020 Winninger Riesling. Winninger is, it's the same like here. If you are from New York, you are a New Yorker.
Okay.
If you are from the town Winningen, you are a Winninger. And that is why the wine called Winninger. And it's a Riesling. The vines are growing on gray slate, turns a little bit into red and yellow because of iron or sulfur particles in the soil, and that's it's the character of the wine. You can really taste that soil in the wine.
Right, gives it kind of a nice mineral,
Yes.
wet slate character.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most important things to kind of recognize about these wines in general, most American palates think of Riesling and they think of a sweet wine. I mean, these are bone dry expressions, most of them. Higher levels of acidity, kind of that vibrant freshness to it. Something on the lines of, a Sauvignon Blanc, from Sancerre or Puy-Fumé.
Right. Much more complex than you're probably used to.
Very aromatic.
I get a lot of aromatics off of this one in particular.
Yeah, the high acidity, I think, makes it a tremendous food pairing partner, right?
Yes, absolutely. Riesling is a great food pairing partner. It goes with more or less everything, but for sure there are some things make out really good with Riesling. For example, all fish dishes, spicy food, even also a little bit more fattier stuff you can pair really good, because the acidity of the Riesling is not overwhelming, but it helps the food to be more elegant, even it's a really big fat dish.
Yeah, it cuts through the proteins and the fattiness, right?
Yes.
And very floral.
Yeah.
There's lime zest in there. There's citrus.
Yeah. Super fresh.
Great acidity. I mean, my mouth is watering.
Yeah. Honeysuckle on the nose, which I found a little surprising. I didn't expect such a huge floral component. Most of the Rieslings I'm familiar with don't. It's more petrol than florality, which I find this is very floral.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it's also our Winninger is our it's everybody's darling, we would say, because it's very floral, very fruity, and it's very pleasant in your mouth.
Yeah.
Right.
It's great.
It's an all-around favorite. So this is a single village wine, something along the lines of what you would find in Burgundy would be like a Gevrey-Chambertin, Volnay, something like that. This is a single village expression. So we're really kind of getting into the particular flavor components and aromatics of this one set of terroir, and it's really fascinating. Right. So moving on to the second wine here, this is the Cabernet. What does that mean in German, Cabernet? How to describe that to the American palate?
to the American palate, Cabernet is a very balanced wine between residual sugar, acidity, and alcohol. So it's not dry, it's an off-dry wine, but it's not sweet. You are not overwhelmed by sweetness because the acidity is a little bit higher than in our other wines, and it plays together, and you have a very nice tickling in the mouth between sweetness and acidity.
That's exactly what I got. I mean, it's so fresh, and there's a ton of acidity in there. It actually helps balance out what little residual, sweetness and sugar is actually in this wine, and it's not a sweet wine. This is like barely off dry.
But I can definitely literally taste more sweetness to it. It's not sweet, it's sweeter.
Right.
Yeah. And then the acidity balances out any overt sweetness.
Yes.
It's really what it's kind of a real fine balancing act.
Yeah.
Because it's beautiful for the amount of sugar that I feel.
Yeah.
It's not present in the flavor profile in an overbearing way.
Yeah.
But just as good of a food pairing partner too.
Oh, sure.
I mean, that's
Thai's the big one.
the spicy foods. You're really gonna just sing
Pop
with that.
with this,
I mean, the aromatics coming to this are fantastic. It's so floral and just so aromatic. It's kind of jumping out at you. It's really nice.
And so this is from two villages. We had the single village before, and now this is 2 villages?
Yes, this is 2 villages, because for the Cabernet we are looking for special vineyards.
Okay.
We don't need the south-faced vineyards because we have too much sun during the day, and especially during the late summer and the fall, a lot of sun drops the acidity very fast, and that is what we exactly don't want for that wine.
Okay.
So that vineyards we use for this wine are facing a little bit into west or east.
Okay.
Right. Wow.
And to me, that's fascinating that you almost looking to not have
Optimal, right?
the sun, right? Because historically speaking, Germany it was a struggle to get them to be ripe. Right. Thank you for sharing these wines. These are gorgeous expressions of Riesling. And if you haven't tried Riesling because you thought it was just kind of some simple sweet wine and you don't like sweet wines, try these wines, Materne and Schmitt.
They'll change your mind about Riesling.
They really will. Janina, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. We really, really enjoyed tasting through these wines, and we're happy that you're here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It is a pleasure too.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right.